Hello and welcome to Odoo Live. My name is Noel, Community Manager here at Odoo San Francisco, and thank you once again for joining us. Today I'm joined by Richard, one of our business advisors, to talk about the new Odoo app Consolidation. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you, Noel. Appreciate it.
As always, if you have any questions regarding today's topic, please leave your questions in the chat and we will answer them at the end during our Q&A session. If you have additional questions or we can't answer your question here today, please send us an email. We are at webinars@odoo.com. Or if you would like to get in touch with Richard directly, Richard, what is your email address?
Mine is rsh@odoo.com. It'd just be the first initial of my first name and the second or the two initial or letters after my last name.
Absolutely. Actually, here, I'll pull it up for you so you can, Richard Shaw. So yeah, with all that being said, please take it away, Richard.
Thank you, Noel. So essentially, version 13 came out in October this year. We came out with a new consolidation application. It's so powerful that we decided to make a brand new application as opposed to adding it in as a feature set for the accounting module, which you guys all know and obviously love. So essentially, very quickly, we're going to introduce the new application, how it works, what the consolidation process looks like, and discuss some of the advanced features, and just a conclusion about it. And there will probably be some time for a question and answer at the end. So in introduction, essentially consolidation involves taking multiple accounts or businesses and combining information into a single point. It's kind of aggregating everything into one place to make it easy. Specifically, this particular module is designed to be used in multi-company scenario, or even you could use it in verticals if you really wanted to modify the financial reports to be a little bit more clear and kind of group things together. For instance, you have an office in the US, an office in Canada, an office in Mexico, or just like Odoo, we have offices worldwide, so we'll definitely be heavily using this application internally. So brand new, again, version 13. So essentially, when a business needed to consolidate their different verticals or different entities into one place, or into one financial statement report, balance sheet, profit and loss, you needed to export everything into Excel, use your formulas, and put things together. Now, it's typically pretty static that way. You export the information, and then you load it into the Excel document, and the formulas will run away and do exactly what they need to provide this report, which is a little bit clunky, especially when you take into account multi-currency, which most likely will be the reason why you have multi-entities in most scenarios. So now, with this new module, you essentially it's already integrated with the accounting. Every time a journal entry is hit or a journal entry is created, a transaction that occurs, it will update the report. It allows you to easily map the different accounts from company A, company B, no matter how many is in each one, into one particular account if you want to, or more, depending on how you configure it. And it allows you to keep track of the different changes that's going on at any given moment. So let's dive into it real quickly. So essentially, this is the consolidation module. If we take a quick step back, it will be this nice green two-circle icon right next to the accounting module. And this is the first thing you see here. Well, you'll notice this is the dashboard. You can actually create as many consolidation reports as you want, because maybe you have different ways of reporting in different formats, especially across different countries, but also within the same country. For instance, we have, of course, GAAP compliant profit and loss and balance sheet, but you also can have earnings before income, tax, interest, and amortization and depreciation, which is a different format. It's not GAAP compliant, but it's another way you can view the same information. So you could essentially create multiple different consolidation reports as you see fit. And you'll see the different ones you have here. You'll see if there's any unmapped accounts in the different companies. So let's dive into one particularly. We'll focus on North America 2019. Diving into this, you'll notice a few things. First and foremost, the consolidation, which is essentially just the consolidation, how you want to handle it. There's information inside of it. If we dive into it, you'll see just the different companies, and of course there's advanced consolidation techniques, which can go even deeper in sub-accounts and etc. But within the consolidation, you specify the accounts first and foremost. Then you specify the currency, and then you can start mapping the accounts. But let's take a quick step back to finish the screen here. So you'll notice, of course, you have the smart buttons up top with the different information, the accounts, and the journals. This is all generated from automatically, particularly the journals, but this information is pulled from the companies down below. Now, of course, you have a start and end date for your consolidation. So you could be the fiscal year or calendar year, however you want to handle it. But you can also essentially create periods within the consolidation. So you'll notice there's a start date and an end date in the line items down below, which can differ from the actual start date and end date of the full consolidation report. Of course, you can't exceed the bounds of the main consolidation report. You'll, of course, have the consolidation rates. So, for instance, maybe you're not a full owner of the business that is in the other country. Maybe you're 50%, in which case you specify the rate here, and it will actually do the calculations for you. And then, of course, it will calculate the average rate and the end currency rate for that period. So it's a nice informational aspect of the system. Now, diving into it, you'll actually just see the information here, the consolidation rate. It's just a summary of what's going on in the previous screen. Now, diving into the consolidation, as you saw before, you have the companies, A and B, the currency. But what's super important, number one, is the accounts and the groups. If you were to jump into this, you're actually just opening up the company information, so it's not really relevant to click on that. What is important is the groups first. This is essentially how you're going to build the report. So essentially, you can create as many groups as you want. For instance, let's dive into the assets and liabilities. So in this case, assets. And you can actually specify the different consolidation accounts down below. But of course, you have the parent you can set up, liabilities. In this particular scenario, I would actually not want the assets to be part of liabilities because that's obviously not the case. So we have assets, we have liabilities, equity, balance sheet, profit and loss, just anything you need here. And so now, of course, you have the accounts. This is where you essentially use the groups you created to assign the different accounts to it. So if I dive into it, you'll get this nice little UI to specify the name of the group or the account, the code, which is very similar to what you would do with the financial statements. You would assign a value to your account, 1 being assets, 2 being liability, 3 equity, etc. And this is alphanumeric, so you can make it whatever you want and customize it how you see fit. Now, of course, the group is the hierarchy, so it's assigned to the balance sheet. All assets are a balance sheet account on the balance sheet report. In developer mode, which is debug, for others, we have a sequence, so you can actually modify how it appears in the report, up and down. 0 being the lowest, so it's going to be in the top, and of course 99 or higher, or above 0 will be lower on the bottom. And now below, you specify the accounts, and from all the different companies. So in this particular scenario, it's just taking all these San Francisco my company accounts and putting it into, or assigning the different accounts here. And of course, if I were to add more, I just add in a line item, and you can just filter and search by and select multiple accounts that you want to have displayed in the other screen. So we'll save that, or go back, so I'm not making any changes. So you'll see I have, going back quickly, you have all the different accounts. So the profit and loss, the balance sheet, you name it, and the different mapped accounts are set here already. So you can do as much as you want and customize as you see fit. And you'll notice actually that sequence I was talking about, if you drag and drop this, it actually automatically changes the sequence for you. And so then you have the periods, which I've already specified previously. Let's dive into the accounts one more time just to make sure I didn't miss anything. That's super important. Within the groups, you have the different consolidation, and if you want more advanced, you can do subgroups. And so how this behaves, if we dive to the back, is we can preview the chart of accounts. It's just taking you to the previous screen as you saw before. So now we have all the information we need. We consolidated everything together, and you have, of course, the sub-consolidation periods you can specify. And now we can do the consolidated balance. So we've essentially created the hierarchy, the balance sheet, the profit and loss, the assets, liabilities, equities you see here, and group them together. I actually realized I forgot a very important, crucial aspect to this. Let's dive into here. One is the currency conversion method. So currency always fluctuates. In most cases, it's going to be marginal. There's not too many high-frequency changes on a regular basis, but there could be instances where it is. So this essentially allows you to pick how you want Odoo to display the information. So the closing rate will, of course, be the rate of the currency conversion at the last date of the period you specify. So it's going to be very static. Then you have the average. So the average is, of course, pretty straightforward. You can sum up and divide and get the average rate over that time period you specify. And then historical rate. So essentially, you'll need to know how multi-currency works in Odoo, but whenever you have a company as a base currency, let's just say USD. Now I also interact and buy and sell with other businesses in, let's say, Canadian dollars or Mexican pesos. What happens is Odoo will live convert or tell you what the value should be in your local currency, my main currency. So if I'm buying in Canadian dollars, which is higher, I don't recall, but essentially it will convert it into USD. So my financial reports will always display in USD because that's my base currency, but the transaction will be in Canadian. And so every journal entry is going to display both. It's going to display the converted rate that you get in that particular transaction, and then the rate in which it is in USD. And that's on the journal items, which there are plenty of videos out there talking about journal items versus journal entries. Now, that particular rate, that snapshot of that particular transaction, will be used, which is what we consider the historical rate. So essentially, we'll sum up the values of the Canadian dollars, convert it into USD, and then display that. But what's nice is you can actually even do further consolidation into different currencies. For instance, if I were to take a step back, going to North America, I specify the target currency, USD, but technically I can actually make this euros, for instance, and then the companies down below in Canadian dollars and USD. So essentially what's going to happen is it's going to convert from CAD and USD into my main company's, the base currency, and then I can convert it again into a third currency, or X currency. So it's a good way to kind of structure the different reports in different ways. So now when that's done, when I click Consolidated Balance, you're going to see the hierarchy I've created with the groups and the accounts, what have you, and it's going to sum up all the information here. So you have the different columns for the different companies, so my company, Canada and San Francisco, and then you'll have a total, which is going to be the sum. So it's going to convert into the base currency of the report, and you can dive into, if you wanted to audit it and see all the different transactions here. This will be the journal items report. And it's looking at posted, or you can look at unposted, however you see fit. And in this case, there's nothing really to look at. But essentially, you can have it all displayed here. You can also see the adjustments made, and this is done elsewhere, and I'll show you where that's done. You also have, of course, the general filters you have when it comes to your, it looks very similar to the other profit and loss balance sheet. You can specify which journals, and also you have the options here to keep the hierarchies or unfold everything or not, however you see fits. You can, of course, easily print this out into PDF, see what that looks like. It's essentially going to be a snapshot of what you see in front of you. This is a nice aspect of version 13, which makes it super easy to generate the reports you want. But you can also, of course, export it. And as you know, with version 13, the export functionality has highly been improved. It's going to actually exactly show you what you want to see here. So it's nice. And you can manipulate the data, because at the end of the day, you have a lot more control of the information in Excel. A very powerful tool. We're not looking to replace it. You can also make edits. So that's where you do the adjustments. So when I click edit there, it's going to take me to this new UI, which is actually used other places as well, for instance, timesheets. And you can actually come in here and make adjustments. So you can't actually change the information in the main company, Canada and San Francisco, because that comes from journal entries. But you can make adjustments here. Maybe there's intercompany transactions. Maybe there's some minor adjustments, a suspense that needs to happen. So you can actually make the changes here. Specify here as well, wherever you want to make these changes. And it will reflect on the total. You can add another column if you really wanted to, and assess it how you want to see fit. I labeled that previous one adjustments, but you can name it whatever you need to, and actually have multiple, for instance, depending on the scenario. And we'll actually just add another column just like adjustments. Let's just call it adjustment 2. Specify what chart, and it'll appear there. Pretty straightforward, and it'll save it all. And so you can go back into Consolidated Balance, and it'll display that information here. So it updates things live, which is very nice. So pretty straightforward. It's quite complex, so it requires you having a basic understanding of accounting, of course, what consolidation means, and understanding the different mappings of what accounts you want. So what's important to note is that when it comes to the accounts, it can be as many accounts into one or as many accounts into multiple as you see fit, so it's very flexible. So you have just the main dashboard from the UI perspective, and you can see everything here. And if you have any unmapped information, it will display it, and you can choose how you want to see fit and how you want to consolidate. And these are the different consolidation accounts here. So this is the name of the account and the account you want to put it into. So it's nice, multilingual, helpful, powerful software. You have the general operations, which is the journal entries. The modifications I made previously are all displayed here. So I have the adjustments 2, and anything else I make is all here. and it sums everything up and tells you where those changes were made, what chart, and this total value of that. And as you can see, there are some that are automatically generated based on the company I created and the consolidation report that I put together. Then, of course, there's the adjustments which were manually created by myself. And then you have basic configuration, what periods you want to specify, start and end date. Not much to change. It just goes straight back to the previous reports. Then you have the company periods you want to specify, same information. And this is where you can make changes to the adjustments here, however you see fit, if you want to make manual adjustments to the conversion. And then, of course, consolidated accounts. So it's essentially just an aggregate of everything you saw before in one place. Going back to the report, so that's essentially the new module. So as a brief kind of overview, you specify the scope of what you want the consolidation report to display and cover. You specify the period. You map all the different accounts together and map the companies into the report consolidation. And then you generate the report and the balance, and everything should be smooth. There are some advanced aspects to it. So essentially you can define the currency conversion, which I talked about before, and there's 3 different methods. You need to define it however you see fit. You can define the structure of it on the report, so it's very customizable to however you need to with the multiple hierarchies, parent and more parents or sub-accounts. You can adjust the columns, so adjust the amount on a column basis, and of course create sub and top and sub consolidations, so you can consolidate even further throughout this process. So in conclusion, powerful new module, very useful for multi-currency, multi-company entities. So you can do a lot more just beyond what the accounting, profit and loss, and balance sheet reports can handle. So essentially, it's an easy way to consolidate everything together. And it's a very powerful dashboard with what you get. Thank you, and we can open up to questions.
Yeah, let's take a gander. Looks like as of right now, we don't have any questions, but I'll see if anybody has any last-minute ones as they come in. One that we did get in the earlier one today is this application available in Odoo Community, in the community version?
No, it is quite powerful, and for that reason, there's a lot of added value to it. So it is not available in community, from my understanding. I don't believe so. But there is a lot of added value in going enterprise because you get a lot of features such as studio, a full-fledged accounting, and because it's an accounting module, that's why it does not exist in the community edition, and only available for 13.
Yeah, I believe that is also the case, but I simply wanted to share that. In the meantime, I guess since there aren't any other lingering questions, thank you, Richard, for the presentation today.
My pleasure.
I want to remind everyone that, as Richard mentioned, so this is the new feature in Odoo version 13, which was unveiled earlier this year at Odoo Experience and at Odoo Connect. We are currently in the midst of our Odoo 13 tour, so we've got events happening all around the world. We're actually retooling our American road shows here in this country and in Latin America. So if you want to get more information and find out where the event closest to you will be, please visit our website. It is at odoo.com/events. Yes?
I was just saying you can message you perhaps.
Or yeah, so there's that as well. But yeah, if you have any lingering questions, please send us an email. We are once again at webinars@odoo.com, or to get in touch with Richard directly. Richard, one more time, what is your email address?
Mine is RSH. Sorry, going very quickly through the slides. RSH, the first 2 letters of my last name.
Yeah.
Exactly. At odoo.com.
Is there anything else you'd like to add before we're gone for the year? It's our final live English webinar for 2019.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Well, thank you everyone for watching. We will see you all in 2020.